Welcome to the Underdog Sniper Podcast. I am your host, MGCovers. This is episode 55. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. A lot to cover. Fun week here in the Dominican. A good positive week here for baseball, and also going to talk about some soccer as well. Had a lot of fun starting to settle in. I've been here for a month now and had a lot of fun this past weekend. Went to a water park here in the Dominican called El Dorado. It's labeled the largest water park in the Caribbean. So much fun. And I can't remember the last time I went to water park. Probably my kids were maybe 15 years ago when my kids were a lot smaller. Obviously they're adults now, but a lot has improved in water park quality, how they design them. A lot of them there were a few rides that were actually scary, how fast they went and then the drop offs, but just a lot of fun, very hot day. And it was a hot day yesterday in the Caribbean. So a little bit dehydrated this morning, but all is good. So give you an outline of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about very simple baseball and soccer is the only thing we got going on. Show you something really interesting with baseball that I just discovered this morning when I was planning for the podcast. And of course, talk about what I did with soccer. And this is so fascinating because the success I had with soccer all resulted from just taking action. I'll show you what I did and show you how you can apply it to other sports as well. So I do want to start with baseball, and we'll take a look at, let me pull this up. Make sure I got the correct thing here. Yep. All right. So this was what you're seeing over here on the left. This was the tracker that we used to track the concept I was doing. I was playing top 10 teams up to minus 150 for the home teams. And then for the away teams, I would play them on the run line. And if you remember from last week, the away team in baseball is guaranteed 9 at bats. So they will cover that more so than the home team will. And year to date, if we tracked it all back to 410, we didn't start wagering this way until the beginning, but I wanted to run the tracker so we could see it. 43 and 39 up 13.87 units. And if you look at the success we had this past week with it, I'll highlight this and you can see over there in that right-hand corner, it was up 3.16 units, which was really, really, really good and excited about that. And I think overall it was just over 50%, same as the year to date. So you can see there 15 wins, losses were 13. So yeah, like what's that, like 52%? And it's probably going to hit that because, we'll lose some on the away side by 1 run and therefore won't cover. Yeah, lose by 1. So it won't cover the run line, but still believe in playing that way. I think it's super effective. And you can see here some of this money we were getting plus 128, plus 126, plus 119, San Diego plus 148 there, Seattle plus 157. Some of these are just normal money line dogs, and then a lot of these are run line. Scroll down here, Boston last night, that gave us a win. We went 2-2, gave us a win a day, Boston plus 150. So if you go back and review the week, and I think, 3.16 units, I'm probably going to move in the direction of playing full units. And what I mean by full units, usually what I'll do is I'll play up to $1,000 per day. And then, so if I got 4 plays, that's basically $250 a piece, but wagering full units, meaning playing 1,000 per play. And you could look at last week, we'd have made about $3,100. So it'd have been extremely profitable. And I think we have sufficient a sample size now to know that this way of handicapping has been effective. And if you sort of take a peek over here to the right, I stopped tracking the bottom 7 on 425. It basically went to even 26 and 29.56 units. If I'd have tracked it this past week, it would actually went into the hole. And if you remember the beginning of last year, we played played against the bottom 7 teams, had a ton of success. It went to like 20 units, but of course it crashed all the way down to 10. And had we continued to play it, I think it would have went, continued to dip. So we could just chalk that off as variance, the reason that it was positive last year. But I definitely like the direction that we're going now. Playing the top 10 teams gives us a lot of volume. And you can see over here each day, 421, we had one play, and then look at that 422. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plays. The next day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plays, 3 plays. Looks like 6 on 425. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 plays on 426, and the last night 4 plays. So I think you have to play volume now. Again, scoring is down. So you need to play into that variance. We sort of talked about that. And again, really pleased with baseball. I don't think we're going to make any changes to this. We'll ride this out, and I believe we'll continue to have success. And the great thing about baseball is if you can figure this out, you have, like right now, we have, 3 days left in April. We have all of May, all of June, all of July, all of August. So we got 4 months of a high volume sport, which is great, and super excited about the direction. Hopefully we can compete with the success we had last year, topping out 34 units last year, and then ended up 47 the year before. Basically the same model, just a little bit of variation, playing all of the top 10 teams, as long as they're not playing another top 10 team. So super excited. And before we dive into soccer, I want to show you something. This is really cool. You take a look. This was from BetStamp. And one thing I noticed, we started playing early. And if you follow my content for a long time, I generally don't believe in playing early. I think there's far more advantages to playing late because you can account for injuries. I just think it's a better way to play overall. However, with regards to baseball, I've been playing them early because we are getting a tremendous amount of closing line value. So we're getting a better number. And just to briefly explain closing line value, the number we're playing, after we play it, that line moves in our direction. So we're actually, quote, saving money by actually playing early. And you can see it. Some of this, we'll go through some of these. Look at this from yesterday, 1.1 with Chicago Cubs, 1% with Cincinnati, 0 there, 0.5 with Mets, 0.4 with Houston. Keep scrolling, minus 1.2 closing line value there with Chicago. And some of these were huge. The day before, 1.8 with the Mets, 2.3% closing line value, 3.8 with Cincinnati, 0.2. So majority of time, you can see that line is moving significantly in our favor. So if the model's good, if your model's good for baseball, I would suggest, playing early, which is what we have been doing. Sometimes I don't get the games out till like 10 a.m. Sometimes I play them early, but definitely is an advantage to playing these games early. All right, so let's shift gears and talk about soccer. Just like really, really, really excited about what we did with soccer, and I'll explain it briefly once I pull this page up here. Okay, so what I did, maybe I'll go to the website here. Yeah, let's put it up on the website. So I knew that the model for soccer was really good, but like everything else I've done with soccer, I've yet to make it profitable long term. So what I did was, rather than creating a plug and play model like I've done with baseball, I said, why don't I just take this model that I know is good, and then I'll apply what I already know about handicapping that's made me successful in my career using 3 simple concepts. Meaning, we're looking for plays with value. If my line is minus 180, book's line is minus 110, that's considered value. Handicapping 50-50 games where maybe both teams are an underdog via my line. That means both teams have an equal opportunity. See if we can find value that way. And then, of course, the play against concept. And I'll show you several examples of these. Play against would be if we see a team that has lost 5 games in a row, 5 matches, and then the opposing team is getting like plus 200. So we're getting a ton of value. We're playing against the team that has lost 5 in a row. So doing it this way, what I did was I made myself play a minimum, I played one day. Ironically, that was the day we had a losing day, but I made myself find 3 matches each single day. And then I put these into ChatGPT to give me a good write-up on how I was handicapping. For example, we'll take a look at Bournemouth, Manchester United from yesterday. This was a 50-50 match. My model had Bournemouth at plus 157. We had Manchester United at plus 105. And if you're new, so via my model, we don't have a favorite or dog. We just let these stats create the line. Both of these teams were underdogs. So therefore, it means neither team both teams have an equal opportunity to win the game. Both teams have roughly defaulting to a 50% chance of winning. But the bookmakers had United priced at plus 280, offering really good value. Bournemouth had only one win in their last 8 matches. So really, it's just a great way to handicap. So look at it from the perspective of you're playing against, we could always use, this could be a 50-50 game. It could be the play against concept as well. So Bournemouth had only won one in their last 8 matches. United had just only 3 losses in the last 10. And luckily, Manchester got a late goal there to end up covering and winning that one. So I'm searching, even though I'm not playing these, I'm looking at Bookmaker or either Bet Online. I can't remember which lines I'm using so that I'm getting a realistic line. So we could get, at the time I handicapped this, which was in the morning, we could get plus 0.5 at minus 103, which means if they draw or they went outright, it would be a win. They got a late goal and ended up winning that one. So in addition to that, when I pick these 3 plays, I'm also ranking them, which I think is very, very great way to handicap. So yesterday I had Union Berlin as the number 1 play. They won, and they got a late goal against them, or they would have won it outright as well. And then I had Inter Miami and Manchester United. Now, yesterday was really unique because we had Inter Miami was a bad beat as well. They went up 3-1 in the second half, ended up losing 4-3, which is unheard of in soccer and a typical example of house edge. So we had 2 quote bad beats there, even though we went 2-1 and only had 1 go in our favor. And I'll show you something else that's really encouraging. This is the actual log. I'm going to do a separate video on this, breaking this down and show you some different ways to handicap this. But overall, and again, this was brand new for me, taking the model and applying the 3 concepts: value play, 50-50 play, and then the play against concept. We went 10-8, y'all. That is 56% in soccer. As you know, very difficult to handicap soccer, but man, I was so pleased with this way of handicapping and actually really surprised at how well I did handicapping like this. And let's see, of those 8 losses, we had 5 matches that we were winning in the second half and ended up losing or losing half the wager if we were playing it on the spread. And we only had 1 match to where we got a late goal to win or cover. So again, it could have done, even better than that, but I really like this. And this is probably something I'm going to do. Go ahead and dive in and start wagering this with real dollars probably this week. I know the major leagues are wrapping up, but we also have MLS that's underway now, and we'll be able to wager them throughout the summer, as well as Brazil Series A and Brazil Series B, and give you a really good tip on handicapping those leagues. The home team wins higher in Brazil Series A, B, and MLS, more so than probably some of these other leagues like English Premier, Bundesliga, Series A. So it's a really fun league to handicap. You have that statistical property of the home team. And this is kind of what I'm going to do in that video that I'll share later this week. We're going to show you some different variations, taking this log and making it profitable, maybe only playing home teams. What would happen instead of playing spread? We play everything on the money line. So really, really, really excited about the progress we're going to make with that. But anyway, that's a wrap for this podcast. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. A lot of content coming out this week. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.